Hey guys, I'm going to start a video today. I'm going to go into the first 100 days that Donald Trump talked about, things he promised, things that he's doing, things that he's not doing. Let's get into it. For decades, the U.S. government has offered services in multiple languages, but there's never been a law saying English is the official language. Trump, in his first 100 days, has changed that with the stroke of a pen, making it official across all federal agencies.
It is official. President Trump has just signed an executive order making English the official language of the United States. And a lot of Americans probably didn't realize English wasn't already the official language of the United States, but the founding fathers, they never designated one. That is now officially changed. So what does this mean exactly? Well, government agencies may not have to offer any kind of documents or forms in any other language other than English if they so choose. But are you going to see a real impact here in California? Not likely. The state designated English as its official language back in 1986, and it continues to offer forms in plenty of different languages. In fact, California is one of more than 30 states that have already designated English as their official language.
Alan Gaines notes drivers need to speak English to communicate with others and even ask for directions. In an executive order, the president agrees with him, saying proficiency in English should be a non-negotiable safety requirement for professional drivers. They should be able to read and understand traffic signs, communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, agricultural checkpoints, and cargo weight limit station officers. Drivers need to provide feedback to their employers and customers and receive related directions in English. This is common sense. Trucker Hermes Duran said he is able to at least communicate and speak in English, but he realizes if his English is not good enough, an official could force him out of service, essentially out of a job if they don't understand him.
I think it's symbolic. I think it's done in most states, and I think it's a good move if the states are not doing that. I mean, it is our language. We can't go to an airport and places like that, and we're hearing things that we don't even understand. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think it's a good move. When you're hiring a truck driver, if he doesn't speak English, he doesn't know how to read certain signs and warnings and stuff like that. I mean, it makes sense that he should be able to speak English. I called a YouTube driver one day, and I couldn't even communicate with him. He'd have to hear me talk, and he has to listen to it on a phone. I don't understand what he's saying to me. It's insane. It took 5-10 minutes just to communicate where I'm going and what's going on. Why they would hire somebody like that is mind-boggling to me. Trump followed through on his promise to roll back progressive gender policies. That means banning transgender individuals from military service and stopping trans women and girls from competing in female sports.
Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Well, down here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. In recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you, huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. Would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories. That's a lot. and invaded more than 11,000 competitions designed for women. But all of that ends today because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. We've had record numbers of people wanting to join our military. Now, if you go back 6 months, it was the exact opposite. You had record numbers of people not wanting to join the military. Now you have record numbers of people wanting to be in our military. And that's a great honor. That shows you we're really on the right track.
Listen, there was always gay people around, transgender, whatever they are. Men wanted to be women or vice versa. It was, it can't spread all over the country in all different ways in sports and things like that. It's gotten out of hand. It was always there. If you want to be gay, stay with your boyfriends, husbands, whoever it is. I'm not against that, but going across the country and changing things, and in schools, they want a little boy, start talking to him. You could be a girl, dress the boy like a girl. You're like brainwashing a kid. So I think I'm against that, and I'm for what Trump said and did. I don't believe that transsexuals or transsexuals should be in the military, giving orders and stuff. It's just unimaginable. I was in the military too. I just can't imagine a man dressed like a woman giving me orders to go here and do this and do that. It just doesn't fit in natural life, common sense. So if you want to be gay, there's no problem with it. There was always gay people. There was gay clubs. There was places you can go that the people dressed like women did actually put on a show. You went and watched the show. It was amusing. It was good. This is insanity. We have dyes and poisons and food. So I think Trump, in his first 100 days, is tackling a lot of things that make sense, and it's made to help the country. We constantly put him down and knock him whether you like him or not. Why don't we find out how it starts to work out? I think what Biden did and Kamala Harris crushed the country, open borders and what's going on. There's all kinds of crimes. Let's see what he does, how it turns out. Forget about whether you like him personally or not. Let's just see how it turns out. It looks like he's on the right track with things, to me. I saw a thing with Bruce Jenner talking. He must have been gay all the while, but at 65 years old, came out like a woman. But he still talks good. He talks about common sense things. Those things should be related to if you're gay and you want to go with a transsexual woman, that's fine. Do what you want to do. But it can't be taught to kids in school. And we're trying to brainwash people to become something that we're not. Men and women's sports, they're just winning over and over. We're literally stronger, physically stronger than women. And it's not fair to the women, if you really respect women. I don't know how women could support these things. You're a woman. And there's a man dressed in a woman's clothes saying they're the same as you. How do you condone that? How do you back that? I mean, it's a disgrace to you. So if you're not fighting for it, I don't know, I can't understand it. And you have daughters and people who are going to grow up in sports and go into a boxing match with a man or a race with a man where they're so superior to women in those categories. That don't mean they're superior to women. Women are much smarter and they have different functions than a man. We're just born like that. Religion will teach you that. Nature will teach you that. Common sense will teach you that. I think Trump is on the right track with a bunch of these things that he's doing. One of Trump's top campaign issues is immigration. In his first 100 days, he created a system to pay undocumented immigrants $1,000 to self-deport and started new deals to send deportees to third world countries like Rwanda.
Have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. Some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
Next this evening to President Trump's new effort to speed up his mass deportation plan. He's now offering undocumented immigrants $1,000 in taxpayer money and a free flight if they self-deport. And tonight, President Trump now says he wants to reopen Alcatraz, calling the prison horrible and beautiful. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Tonight, in an attempt to accelerate his mass deportation efforts, President Trump unveiling a new plan, offering undocumented immigrants $1,000 in taxpayer money and a plane ticket to self-deport.
We're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from. And they have a period of time. And if they make it, we're going to work with them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people.
The Trump administration says they've deported 150,000 people since January, far short of the pace needed to remove the tens of millions the president promised. Trump today blaming required immigration hearings for slowing down his plan.
The courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. We're going to have 5 million trials. Doesn't work.
In a remarkable statement, the president refusing to say whether he believes he needs to uphold the Constitution and the right to due process.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me. And they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
Tonight, the administration insisting Trump's new self-deportation plan won't just jumpstart deportations, it will also save money, noting the average cost to arrest, detain, and remove an undocumented immigrant is more than $17,000. They say one person has already taken up their offer, booking a flight from Chicago to Honduras. And tonight, Trump, who has sent hundreds of undocumented migrants to a notorious prison in El Salvador without any due process, is now talking about reopening one of America's most infamous prisons, Alcatraz. Known as the Rock, perched on a rugged, hard-to-reach island off San Francisco, it closed over 60 years ago because its remote location made it too expensive to operate. Now Trump wants to bring it back, saying he's instructing the Bureau of Prisons to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders.
But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
And back to the self-deportation plan tonight, the administration insists this is the safest way to leave the U.S. and avoid arrest. Officials stressing if undocumented immigrants don't leave on their own, they will come after them and remove them. The president saying if you don't self-deport, you will never get a path to come back in.
Yeah, you know, I'm a little bit of a Trump fan. He's doing a lot of good things. He's talking about opening up Alcatraz. With this one, I really don't agree with him. It's a shithole. You know, people have to go to prison when they commit a crime and they're found guilty. But going into ADX Supermax or Alcatraz, opening up that shithole, I don't agree with that. You're incarcerated. That's punishment. If you're going to put them in a shithole like that, that's torture. That's a whole nother ballgame. I think even if you commit a crime, you pay your debt to society by doing the crime, not by being tortured. You lose your freedom of coming out in the neighborhood, but I think opening up Alcatraz is a mistake. From what I understand, it's too expensive because there's very hard to get to with everything, with electric and gas, with everything. And without people go in, they're our people, they committed a crime, they go to jail. You want to do reform, teach them things in prisons. Build a prison and teach them. Teach them how to become plumbers, carpenters, electricians, welders. They can teach them so that they come out, they change their life, they start over again. So I'm against extreme punishment. And if they're that extreme that we want to do that, then bring back the death penalty and kill them. Why should we do this? we're against killing them, but we're not against torturing them. You can't have it both ways. So I'm against this Alcatraz thing. Not only giving them $1,000, it's not about that. I like the later part of his conversation where he said, we'll see who they are. If they haven't committed crimes, you committed a crime when you came into the country, you're illegal. But that they could have a second chance, leave, come back in or try to come back in the right way, and you could get back in. Now, there's a lot of those workers, farm workers, and all kinds of factory workers that could come back. So you're giving them at least, you're not throwing them out. You're getting out, start over, come in the right way. He's giving you $1,000 plus a plane ride and a way back into the country. That's the part that catches me. I think that's a good plan because they do have, if they want to come back and they don't like their countries, come back, learn the language, love the country, salute the flag, and get a job. And you could come back in. I think that's fair.
I don't like your t-shirt. I'm an immigrant. I don't understand why you would want to deport some of my friends and family who have been working hard in this country.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Claudio, sir.
Yeah, Claudio. And this is just a thought exercise, but it's very revealing. You are king, and you find out that there are 30 million uninvited people in your country. What do you do with them?
I try to find the most humane way of sending them back to our country. But first of all, I want to say...
That's what we're doing.
Wait.
That's what we're doing. So what country did you emigrate from?
Are you going to, like, discriminate against me?
No, I'm going to do the opposite, actually.
I'm Mexican.
But you came here legally, correct?
I did.
You followed the rules. The people that you know didn't follow the rules.
True.
So I divide America not into Hispanic and white, into rule follower and rule breaker.
Yeah.
And so when someone breaks our rules, there must be justice done. And the most humane way is you go back to your country of origin.
Some of my boys, like, they're being, like, persecuted, like, back home, them and their families, like, they're, like, in, like, drug-related, like, wars and violence. And the only way out is if they escape and they break the American law. But that's the only way they're going to survive.
If that is correct, we have a special asylum status that they could seek legally at a port of entry, that they could go through a whole process.
I think Charlie Kirk is great. He's down with common sense all the time. I don't see him as a racist or a bigot. I don't see him as any of those things. He's straight up common sense. He tells it like it is. When I hear him talk, every time he talks about something, he's got common sense on his side. So I'm in for it 100%. I'm behind him. I think he should be a politician. He's honest, he's sincere, and he tells it like it is. He doesn't hold back. I just saw the video where he's telling the kid, you came in the right way, you're here, good. But somebody who don't come in, the kid admitted, yeah, then he should go back. So, you know, I don't understand what this whole thing is. When you're getting, you can't just break into any country in the world. You can't just come in to their country and plop down and say, I belong there, give me all these benefits and everything will be okay. No, it don't work like that. If you want to go to another country, you would have to go through a process. If Americans went and wanted to live in another country, I love Italy. I can't go to Italy and just plop down. I would have to go through a process to get into that country and become a citizen. So what is the difference? I have to go through that process. You have to go through that process if you want to come here. And if you don't, you're breaking the law. If I don't go through that process in Italy or wherever I want to go, I'm breaking that law. And I'll probably be thrown out. If you really want to go and you're in trouble in your country, again, there's a process you can go through and say, I have to run or they'll kill me. There's a process, still a process to come through. You can't just run through the border. When you get caught, you say they were going to kill me. That's bullshit. There's a process to come in, whether you're in serious trouble or not, or you just want to come in and start your life over. I mean, years ago, you know, my parents were immigrants. People came into this country in droves, immigrants from all over the planet. And they came to Ellis Island and places. They came and went through a process to become an American citizen. And I think that's all America is asking, Trump is asking, come through the right way. And we'll welcome you. So, and they just don't want to do that. They just want to run in And the Democratic Party, for some reason, when they do that, I know the reason, but I'll say it in a minute, but they give them money, credit cards, a phone, place to live. They give them all kinds of things. They're doing that because when they do all those things and they let them in illegally, they want to even give them a card to vote. And what do they tell them to do? Vote Democrat. And we'll give you more. That's rigging our voting system as well. So now when you get tens of millions of people who they let in, you're rigging the vote. You're taking the vote away from the American people who are supposed to vote. You're rigging the election. So all of these things are gross and disgusting, and I hope that Trump, Republicans, and if there's good Democrats, revolt against this. If not, we're going to lose this country. We're going to lose the freedom that we have each and every day. So that's my opinion on it. The asylum system was overhauled. Trump's policy now blocks most immigrants from applying if they pass through another country first. It's one of the toughest asylum policies in the U.S. history.
The administration has already shut down the CBP One app, and also canceled people who were expecting to have these asylum hearings before entering the United States. President Trump has said he's reinstating his stay in Mexico policy in his first term. How might that impact what we're seeing happening on the border?
Yeah, so basically, he has shut down the asylum process in the United States. You know, we said, and you and I have talked about this, we said after World War II that we would never send people back to danger without at least screening them. There is no asylum at the U.S. border now. No matter how much danger you're in, whether you're in for religious persecution, being threatened for religious persecution, political speech persecution, you're in grave danger. There is no longer any asylum. I mean, it is a very dangerous situation that we're putting people in. And so, and you mentioned the CBP One appointment. That was at least something President Biden left open. So we have clients who tried to comply with that, waited 5 months for an appointment in dangerous conditions in Mexico, spent almost their entire life savings trying to remain in Mexico until they got an appointment. Finally had an appointment for this Saturday, canceled. So we are going to be back in court tomorrow to make sure that she gets her appointment unless the government agrees to give it to her.
These guys are totally full of shit. I don't even want to hear them and their stories. Their stories are told over and over and over again. They'll use one person and we're supposed to go crazy and start crying, and I don't buy it. I just don't buy their bullshit. There's ways to come in and there's ways not to come in. You can cry and piss and moan all you want. You can get 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 people who we would all sympathize with, including me. But we're not talking about 100 people. He's talking about 100, but he's blanketing that by 20 million people coming in. You want to keep it open for those 100 people. In the meantime, 20 million people are coming in. No, we're shutting the border to 20 million people. Those 100 people, 50 people, whatever it is, one person he's talking about, they could find a way in, or they could find a way around it, go to somewhere else and work on it. You can't just walk in. You're using that example to make us feel bad. And that's all bullshit. So I don't want to even hear it.
Is Donald Trump going to try to deport asylum seekers? So I'm talking about people who have an asylum claim pending. You've already applied for asylum. Are you at risk of getting picked up and jailed and deported? I don't think you have to worry about that, at least not yet. Based from everything we've seen and heard, there's no indication that they're going to start going after asylum seekers, people who've already applied for asylum, whether your case is pending in immigration court or at the asylum office with USCIS. I think you're okay. I do think as of right now that they're going to let that case run its course, all right? That they're not going to come and just pick you up and try and deport you. Look, there's pressure for the Trump administration to deport criminals, people with a criminal record or a final order of deportation. That's the low-hanging fruit. That's who they're going after first. It's going to take a long time to work through those. I think for now, at least, you're okay if you've got an asylum claim pending.
Here's a lawyer, just you heard the opposite side, and I agree with this lawyer 100%. That's my opinion. You're not going to get thrown out. You'll be an asylum person, and you'll have your case. And they use this argument of the 1 or 2 or 3 or 100 people that have this problem to let 20 million people in. It's a lie. We're not that stupid. Nobody's going to throw out those people. This lawyer is right. You have a case, we'll hear it. If it's granted, you'll become a citizen. If not, go back where you came from. So there is a process. Trump is not taking that process away. But those other ones are crying to just let 20 million people in. They're lying to us. We just have to understand that. Whether it's this lawyer, the Democratic Party, some of these twisted-ass judges, they're lying to us. I think we're smart enough to know the difference, and it's got to stop. Trump created a whole new department called DOGE and put Elon Musk in charge.
We will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families. We're cutting down government. We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy. We have a lot of people that aren't doing their job. We have a lot of people that don't exist.
Elon Musk and DOGE. Everyone knows that there's wasteful government spending. It's really important. But the cuts have had some serious consequences. There have been cuts to foreign aid programs that save lives and keep people alive overseas. There's been research at the National Institutes of Health on cancer, on Alzheimer's, that has had to be stopped. And the question I think people have is, did DOGE go too far, too fast, too reckless?
No, I think DOGE has been, look, saved $150 billion. We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There were some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be, because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any.
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the, are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally are. There's been no investigation from the Justice Department. How do you know that? I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not
now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There had been.
I'm asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of DOGE.
Of course there have been. Take a look at some of these things that took place. Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever.
Trump made an ass out of this guy, news guy. He don't know what he's talking about. He wasn't asking a question. He made a statement. It's clear as a bell. Trump is right. You know, it's a shame that the news, I remember as a kid, or when I was young, the news was gospel. You would believe anything they said because they always went after the truth. Today, they're bought, lock, stock, and barrel. Big Pharma gives them money and they say whatever they want them to say. The Democrats give them money, this one gives them money, and they're robots. They don't tell the truth. You have to listen to programs like Patrick McDavid, Joe Rogan, and on and on to hear the truth. It's a shame.
Detractors, Mr. Musk.
What?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted, we have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House, we won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was On the campaign, the president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Well, Musk, I think, he's a very, very smart guy. When the people are knocking him, and he's doing the right thing, he's helping. This guy didn't do one thing smart he's a genius. He did 5 things smart. They wanted electric cars, he's created it. They want to go to the moon, he's responsible for not creating it, but helping it happen. This is a guy who's done unbelievable things. And now he's doing the same thing with DOGE. And we just want to knock him like he's a lunatic. No, he's a genius. He talks a little funny sometimes, but that's how geniuses are. We should praise him. Things that he's doing for our country, he don't have to do it, and he's not trying to steal your money. He's the richest guy on the planet. He doesn't need your $18 or $200 or $2,000. He's doing this, putting himself at risk. And there's people knocking him because he's bringing out with his intelligence of where the money was stolen, the waste, the incompetence, everything like that. He should be cheered and loved. But they brainwash you, the news media and everybody else, to attack him, to attack his cause. It's incredible. The Democrats wanted electric cars. When he was putting it, they loved him. Now they hate him, and they're trying to hurt his company with the electric cars. And random people's cars and car dealers, they're not him. They own a car dealer company. They buy his cars. They own it. You're hurting them. You're knocking people out of business. Or you're smashing up somebody's car who bought a car. It's his car. It has nothing. You're not hurting him. You're hurting the person who bought the car. So it just shows you what animals and how stupid they are. I think DOGE is a great thing, and I'm sure, here's my opinion of that, is that Trump, when he saves when it goes into trillions, I guarantee you that he's going to stop different taxes that ain't necessary. Giving money away all over the place. Watch, he'll give it back to the people. People who are broke, people who are middle class, he'll cut their taxes. He's already doing some of that already. So the more he gets back, the less taxes, he's going to help the whole country. So DOGE knocked out 100 employees. The monies that they're saving will put tens of thousands on DOGE, on a plus, and a couple of hundred negatives on this side. So pick what side you want. Trump always promised tough trades. In 2025, he slapped 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico and raised China's tariffs to 20%. That's a big hit on imports and a big move to shift manufacturing back home.
A tariff is a tax on a foreign country. That's the way it is, whether you like it or not. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's a tax on us. No. It's a tax on a foreign country. It's a tax on a country that's ripping us off and stealing our jobs.
Stopping the tariffs against China to get them to the negotiating table. Those tariffs are staying on.
Why would I do that?
Would you lower them?
At some point, I'm going to lower them because otherwise you could never do business with them.
Yeah.
And they want to do business very much. Look, their economy is really doing badly. Their economy is collapsing.
We still have 145% tariffs on China. Your Treasury Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're trying to say something's going to happen, Terry.
No, okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business.
Terry,
I want to ask you.
I do know business.
Yes,
and
so 145% tariffs on China, and that is basically an embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on everything from electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States.
Trump is now placing 100% tariffs on movies made in foreign countries, and no one really knows why or what this means, but also, how do you tariff a movie? But as far as Trump, he says that he's doing this because the movie industry in America is dying, and saying that that's because countries are trying to get studios to film in their country with tax incentives that pose a national security threat. Now, it is true that some countries like the UK and Australia, they offer tax incentives to studios if they film there, for instance, the new Avengers movie that'll be filmed in the UK. But Marvel and Disney, they're still American companies based in California, and the majority of movies are still shot in the US. And even with the big blockbuster movies that film abroad, everything besides the filming, it's still done in America largely. And so people saying, it's not clear why Trump might think the Avengers filming in the UK is a national security risk, especially as movies are very much an American industry. In 2023, for example, American movies accounted for 70% of all global film revenue, something that's been viewed as great for us economically, but also it has unprecedented soft power. Great art is an extension of ourselves or an area, so it naturally contains American themes and it spreads around the world. But it's part of why so many people say that American culture is more or less the default global culture. It's just so dominant that it feels normal. And so regarding the tariff threat, you have industry experts saying that the US, it should offer tax incentives to get filming back. Right? If that's what this is really about, that accomplishes it better than putting tariffs on films not made in the US, because that can open Pandora's box for very little gain. Currently, foreign films just don't pose a threat to American films at the box office, so placing a tariff on them is just kind of asking for a problem. And if we saw countries retaliate, this would destroy Hollywood and American influence, and it could also move the global trade war from goods to services. Which, if there is a big point and a key takeaway here, the US economy is 76% services, so that's something that would be brutal. And this is a thing that's kind of been buried by the nonsense and the chaos, but America, it's the biggest exporter of services in the world, and it has a trade surplus with most of the world when services are accounted for. But for now, follow to stay in the loop.
I think tariffs on movies are a mistake. They can go anywhere they want to make a movie. I think that if he really wanted to help Hollywood, and they're getting hurt by all these movies made in different countries. But if he really wanted to help them, it's not with tariffs, it's with incent states the right to give them tax breaks if they make it here. A tax break if they make it here in the United States. Hollywood wouldn't go to those countries, they'd stay right here and make films right here because they got a tax break. Why would they go to another country? It's all about money in Hollywood. So it's simple. I think the tariffs is a waste, is a dumb move. I think giving them an incentive, like there are states that have it. They have one in here, in Arizona. New Mexico, yes, they have breaks over there if you want to do movies. There's different places that do it. Increase those benefits for them, and they'll make more movies here. Matter of fact, some other countries would come here and make their movies because we have the talent, whether it's camera people, sound people, lighting people, actors, actresses. They can bring their own actors. If the incentive was to do it here, that's enough. You don't need tariffs. On day one, Trump froze all foreign aid. Billions of dollars were stopped. His argument is charity starts at home. Every foreign dollar should be justified under America First.
The golden age of America begins right now. This day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
We're going to help out the people that need help, but home base first. I went to a school in D.C. that might have 10 students in the classroom, but we only got 5 books. How is that possible? But you sending millions of dollars across the sea? It don't make sense to me. I don't really understand it.
I mean, not only Trump, but anybody, any politician, any president of the United States should always put America first. They're the father of our country. Your father don't go and put other people above his family first. He puts his family first. We all do that in our own personal families. We look at our family, we want to put them first. Sometimes you got to deal in other places, but he's the father of our country. Trump bans all DEI. This is a hot topic for Trump. Trump says all DEI training is political.
Mr. President, an additional question that might require an explanation. Your administration has issued executive orders dismantling DEI initiative across federal agencies, including revoking equal opportunity mandates and slashing funding for minority-owned businesses. Critics argue these actions reverse decades of civil rights progress. So how do you justify these measures, and what message do they send to the marginalized communities in this country?
Well, it was one at the as you know, it was one at the Supreme Court. And what we're doing is we have a country that's based solely on merit now. And that's the way it is. If somebody's out there doing a great job, and this includes getting into colleges, if you've worked really hard, and we don't look at race, we don't look at color, we don't look at height or shortness or weight. If somebody is doing a good job and they worked and they got great marks and they got great board numbers, and they get rejected at this Harvard, which has been so disgusting, so horribly. I mean, so think of it. They hired Bill de Blasio and Lori Lightfoot, the two worst mayors in the history. They pay them a fortune.
But that was the course, though.
They're teaching management.
The
Let
course
me just
was,
tell you that
the course
it's based
was
now, Stephen, on merit.
The course
Everything
at
is
Harvard,
based
though,
on
Mr.
merit.
President, was how to be a bad mayor. That was the course. So they had to hire
That would
those
be
two.
good. Then they would be terrific.
Let me show you why Trump's not wrong when it comes to his stance on DEI hires. This is a recent article from the Washington Times. You can see right there. It says as late as last year, the FAA was recruiting those with targeted disabilities, including hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disabilities, and psychiatric disabilities, and dwarfism. The article goes on to say that the biographical assessment that they began using under Obama actually was disqualifying more qualified candidates. I think most of us know that being an air traffic controlman is one of the most stressful jobs on this planet. Why on earth would you want somebody with any of those ailments manning the skies? And if you're someone that thinks, hey, it's no big deal, you are lying to not only yourself, but to everyone else.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to hire anybody in my company if they couldn't produce and couldn't work, couldn't think. Why would I want people in other companies flying in a plane, somebody who can't, is half blind? I want to hire him because he's half blind and I want him to fly the plane. If I want that, then you get on that plane. I don't want to get on that plane. So I don't understand what the problem is there either. If you want to hire people who are not qualified in your company, expect to fall apart and fail. I mean, you always, everybody, whether it's going to schools or any place, are always looking for people who are smart and could expand their business. I don't understand why anybody would want to hire people who are just against it. And as far as this dwarfed thing, I'm a little on the short side. I don't even want to talk about dwarfs. Trump filled key roles with loyal allies, so people from business, tech, and former campaign staff. He says it's about trust and speed, not playing by the old rules.
She's going to be my pardon czar, okay?
She has been just so outstanding, and I'm so proud of you. And we're giving Alice a full pardon. You can do whatever you want in life, and just keep doing the great job you're doing.
You know, Alice was in prison for doing something that today probably wouldn't even be prosecuted. You've been an inspiration to people. And we're going to be listening to your recommendation on pardons. You're going to go over and she's going to be my pardon czar, okay? And you're going to find people just like you that should not have happened.
I went to prison in 1996. They sentenced me to life plus 25 years. I didn't need a life sentence as a first-time nonviolent offender to learn a lesson. But I had to keep going because I knew that I was going home one day. I look at my freedom totally as a miracle from God. I had spoken at Mike.com. Someone who Kim Kardashian follows retweeted that video, and she tweeted out, "This is so unfair," and it went super viral. Kim Kardashian and President Donald Trump, they were on two totally different ways of thinking, and they came together for me. It starts with us talking to people, putting all differences aside. Who knows, we may be able to save a life also.
I think that's a good thing. I mean, he's taken somebody who went to prison in an unfair way, an amount of time, and that's somebody who could look at pardon, say, this person changed their life, this person did enough time, and give her reasons to Trump, and Trump may feel the same way. Being I'm talking like that, I changed my life, Trump, so I hope to put in for a pardon from her. Maybe she'll say he changed his life. He's a born-again Christian. He's doing the right thing in life. Give him a pardon. I'm 80 years old, so I think that's a great thing. Not I'm talking about me, but for anybody who's in prison. I was in prison for over 22 years of my life. There's a lot of people in prison who could get a pardon. Yeah, I don't know if I would take it a position with him, but I would take a position that my life was started over again, and he gave me a second shot of getting my life together, and I would probably try to help other people. You know, I'm against somebody, serial killer and stuff like that, but I'm talking about there was a lot of black guys and Hispanic guys and people I met in prison who could easily come out. I'm sure they wouldn't crack an egg. I'm for prison reform and looking at things like that. I'm behind that 100%. And that woman is probably never going to hurt anybody in her life. She's probably going to do a lot of good. Sitting in jail for the rest of her life would have been cruel. Trump reopened oil and gas permits, approved pipeline projects, and started fast-tracking drilling in federal lands. Trump says it's about energy dominance. Drill, baby, drill. Getting the U.S. off foreign oil for good.
That is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
All anyone can talk about is tariffs, but nobody's bringing up the fact that oil prices have just hit a 4-year low, meaning that gas prices are about to plummet. Watch this.
Oil was $76, now it's $65. Gasoline prices are going to plummet. Any other time, that would be the #1 story. In fact, if you go to the polls, what will get you elected as president? Much cheaper gasoline or Wall Street crying? I'm just being honest about it, right? So, yeah, people have these stocks in it.
This is, of course, because of Trump's tariffs. While OPEC has been piling on supply, investors see tariffs as a growth killer, making the price of oil go down.
Yeah, no, lowering the price of gas hits, listen, who uses car? 2% of rich people, buy and use gas. So you're going to help a majority of the country. All of middle class, people who are in the underclass, broke, everybody who has a problem in life, the whole country. You're talking about more than half of the country, 3/4 of the country, it would help. So I'm definitely for lowering the price of gas for everybody. And that's, again, just common sense. Common sense will tell you that. It's not going to hurt national parks and wildlife. We've had gas. We've been doing this for 100 years or 75 years or whatever it is. And it doesn't, we have more national parks and more things. It's just another bullshit excuse from people like the Democrats who don't want gas. They want to hurt that industry. And so that we have national parks, zoos, and things for animals all over this country. So that excuse that we're going to hurt people or hurt animals or parks, that's all bullshit. Propaganda. Hey guys, I just finished my video, the top 10 things that Trump is doing in his 100 days. I gave my opinions on all these things. You could listen to them, hear them, and Give me your opinion. Text me, write me, do whatever you want to do. Give me your, whether you agree with me or disagree or whatever you want to say. I'd love to read it. Oh yeah, one more thing. You guys know I'm on Cameo. And Mother's Day is right here. You can give me a call. I'll give a shout out to your mom or whoever it is. It's only $14,000 it'll cost you, so not a big deal. So it's not really $14,000, but love to hear from you guys and love to do a video for your mom. Guys, have a great day, a great week, a month, a year. Love you guys. Stay tuned for other things I'm gonna do. Adios, motherfuckers.